For anyone that's been eating carnivore for any length of time, you've probably heard things like this. Oh my God, you're going to get colorectal cancer. You are going to give yourself a heart attack, mate. You are moments away from a stroke. I can just feel it in my waters. So, I decided to take a CT coronary angiogram recently to see if there's any plaque buildup in my coronary arteries, and during this video I'll be sharing some of the results. I decided to do this for a couple of reasons. One was just for peace of mind. I've never done it before, so I wanted to at least have a baseline. But the other reason was because there's a lot of hot air out there about LDL-C. Lipidologists or cardiologists on Twitter or X that can best be described as children. These doctors have such busy practices that they're able to spend basically all the time on Twitter bad-mouthing people and calling them stupid for disagreeing with them about cholesterol. They really don't like people who go against the mainstream narrative of statins, statins, statins. And as you know, being a mean girl on Twitter is exactly why these men spent so long studying for the careers that they have. Anyway, there is one particular doctor that I want to mention in this video to show you an example. This doctor is Dr. Muhammad Alo. Sorry, wrong picture. The reason I want to talk about this particular cardiologist is because he's the doctor that ignores all context that is inconvenient to his argument. And interestingly, this guy seems to spend all of his time on social media creating content. For example, this video here.
Recently, there's been a lot of these carnivore keto people that have heart attacks at a young age.
So keto or carnivore is the cause of a heart attack. I wonder what the stats would be like if you counted up the heart attacks and the diets of each of the people that had a heart attack in the US, the UK, and Australia. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of those heart attacks would not be people eating a ketogenic diet. Dr. Alo, are you saying that diet always matters, or is it just particular diets that you don't like?
Recently, 2 posts that I saw on Twitter.
Well, if it's on Twitter,
where people in their 30s have had heart attacks who are LDL cholesterol deniers that say, I'm not afraid of LDL cholesterol.
LDL denier suggests someone who doesn't believe in the existence of LDL. Whether LDL exists or not, Dr. Alo, your contention, after a thorough examination of the patient via his Twitter post, is that LDL gave him the heart attack. LDL gave him the stroke.
One of them had a stroke at, age 35 that can't type anymore.
He must be dictating his tweets then.
Who is also one of these people that is selling a book on why cholesterol is great for you. And obviously this is just nonsense.
Speaking of people who sell books, does selling a book compromise you in some way, Dr. Alo? Because you seem to be selling a book as well. Or does that rule only apply to people you don't like?
Please, people, take this seriously. Cholesterol is not a joke. We have nothing to gain by telling you this. What do I get out of it?
Lifetime supply of customers that you've scared the crap out of? Book buyers? Patients returning every month for consultations and prescriptions?
I'm trying to prevent you from ever needing a cardiologist, ever needing the healthcare system, ever needing anything. If you're young and healthy and your cholesterol is up here, please get it down. It doesn't even matter how, just get it down.
Yes, get it down, because today's doctors and pharmaceutical companies are much smarter than the human body. We need to manage the crap out of the human body, because just eating natural food, getting exercise and sunlight is not enough. There are prescriptions that need to be written. The point is here, Dr. Alo is taking into account no context about any of these people he's reading about on Twitter. He's just looking at them and going, oh, you had a heart attack, you had a stroke, ketogenic diet. How long were you on it? 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? That's the cause. The only context that's important to him is one piece of context. And what's that context? LDL-C is the root problem of everything. Did Dr. Alo take into account any other factors that may have contributed to heart attack or stroke? Well, from the video we watched, it appears not. Because LDL's the problem, right? Nothing else. It's LDL. It's LDL. Buy your statins. And I don't know about the medical rules, but I would imagine that diagnosing someone from afar based on a Twitter post is not the most effective way of examining and diagnosing a patient. And here's why all this makes me angry. I'm old enough that I can just ignore Dr. Allows and his mates' incessant tweeting about how we all need to get our LDL under control with chemicals. I'm in a position where I can get my own tests. I can go and investigate exactly what's going on inside my own body and then make judgments from there. I can turn off that constant noise of get your cholesterol down, get your cholesterol down. But for someone who's just getting started with keto or carnivore and trying to improve their health, they might be influenced by this Cameron Diaz lookalike and his mates, because it's just the constant scaremongering tactics that are being rolled out to convince everyone that they need to get their LDL down, and this is what's going to damage them permanently. So anyway, let me tell you my situation. I had a CT coronary artery examination, and I do have plaques here and here. And right now, I'm not going to go into any details about it. I'm not going to talk about flow or anything like that. Suffice it to say, I'm scheduled for a follow-up in just under a year from now, and at that point I can compare the baseline to the new results and see what's happening. And at that point I will discuss the changes. One thing I would like to cover though, just before Dr. Allo starts tweeting his diagnosis at me, and this is going to be really important for context deniers like Dr. Allo and co, and also anyone else who's getting started with keto or carnivore. I've been carnivore for 20 months. I was a heavy smoker for more than 15 years. I grew up with a heavy smoker as a father who used to smoke in the car and wouldn't let us wind the window down because it would give him a cold neck. I was an alcoholic for years. Throughout most of my life, I've suffered with chronic stress. For most of my life, my diet has been made up of ultra-processed foods and occasional plants when some TV show makes me feel bad about how little nutrition I'm getting. And for the record, in my pre-carnivore days, my cholesterol was perfect. But all of those pieces of context are irrelevant, right, Dr. Allo? Because all that matters is getting your cholesterol down, right, Dr. Allo? 20 months of carnivore have definitely pushed up my LDL. But 20 months of carnivore has also improved every other one of my health markers. 20 months ago, my LDL was normal, but I looked like a beaten-up Ford Cortina. And all my numbers except LDL made me look like I was falling apart. These days, my LDL is high, but all my other numbers are good, and I feel healthier than ever. But that's unlikely to matter to Dr. Allo and company, because that's all pesky context. So, am I going to stop carnivore? No, because there is no telling which piece of context or combination of pieces of context contributed to the plaques. My follow-up tests are later this year, and based on the results and the comparison between the baseline and those results, I will decide what to do. And if you want to hear an educated doctor talk about cholesterol and LDL, check out this video next.